Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we are here for another tier list? Okay, if you say so. You see, every year there's a handful of tornadoes that end up becoming contenders for quote-unquote Tornado of the Year, which is just a way to categorize the most beautiful tornado of the year in the community's opinion. This year, the list has been more controversial than ever. All the way back in April, people were saying that Lake City was Tornado of the Year and that was never going to change. And then we had things like Arnett, which people said couldn't be beat. And then we see things like Dickens and things like Gary. So, what is actually the Tornado of the Year, and what contenders are on this list that don't really deserve to be there? Well, in this video, I created my own tier list on tiermaker.com. Not a sponsor, but still a pretty cool website. I've compiled a list of the top 11 contenders that people typically throw around whenever discussing Tornado of the Year, and we're going to be ranking these solely off of their looks. I want to make that incredibly clear before we go into this, because I don't want to have somebody in the comments tell me, oh, how could you say that's stronger, or oh, this hit everything, or whoa, 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 whoa. We're just talking about looks. So without further ado, I don't see any reason that we can't just go ahead and hop right into it now. Starting off with Arnett. Now, this was arguably the best plains tornado of the entire year. When I say plains, I mean southern plains, obviously. I'm going to throw it in the A tier because for a while everybody was saying, hey, Arnett is going to be Tornado of the Year, and Arnett is the greatest Tornado of the Year, and that got dethroned pretty quickly. But for that short period of time, it certainly was Tornado of the Year. I mean, it had a beautiful rope stage. This crazy stovepipe shape with the lightning strike next to it is arguably the most infamous photo of this tornado. And again, not that it really counts for a whole lot in this ranking, but it is good to know that the tornado did end up missing the community of downtown Arnett. Next up, we have the infamous Ashby Mega Wedge. Now, you may be wondering, why is that photo horrendous? Well, that is because the tornado was so incredibly large that to get a photo that captures its whole scale, you kind of have to get a photo that doesn't include the whole condensation funnel. This tornado was one of the largest tornadoes of the entire year. This occurred on April 27th, and although you can't really tell from this photo, this was a beaut. Now, was it necessarily a Tornado of the Year contender? I'd have to say probably not. There were some problems. It was slightly rain wrapped, and also usually these mega wedges don't have a whole lot of room to have interesting movement. And I mean, with that being said, it's still obviously a beautiful tornado, but I think for now we're probably going to place it down in the C tier. Again, this is a horrible photo of it just because I wanted to emphasize it is kind of hard to find a good photo of it because of how large it was. Next up, we have what I think might be the most underrated tornado of the year. This is the Columbia, Mississippi tornado that happened all the way down in March, down there in Dixie Alley. That occurred all the way back in February. This was down here in far southern Dixie Alley. This was a beautiful EF0 tornado captured on a radar Omega cyclone port. And at a point, I would argue that this was Tornado of the Year, but unfortunately, since then, it has gotten knocked down so many spots. And unfortunately, it is the least photogenic tornado on this list. So while it is a phenomenal rope tornado and one that quite a few chasers were on, we are going to have to throw it all the way down in the F tier. Next up, we have the Dickens Wellfleet tornado, S tier. Need I say more? No, I'm just kidding. But this was really something else to watch live. The difference between the Wellfleet tornado and the Arnett tornado, because at their peak, sure, they're the same thing. They're both beautiful stovepipes with photogenic lightning shots next to it. One thing is, Dickens had a rainbow that made it is so much more impressive. I cannot even comprehend. Like, even just thinking about this tornado, I begin to lose my mind. But I'll try to stay focused here. It had the rainbow. It had a multi-vortex violent stage where it was causing ground scouring. It also had an incredible rope stage, an incredible cone stage. This tornado had a beautiful mesocyclone. Dickens really had it all. The only thing that I wish we saw from Dickens that we didn't end up getting was a wedge out phase at the end. And unfortunately, we did not see that. Nonetheless, one of the most photogenic tornadoes of all time. Speaking of most photogenic tornadoes of all time, Floyd, New Mexico. Now, this was a bit different from some of the tornadoes that we've discussed so far. This tornado wasn't on the ground for very long, and it's not like it had 100 different phases for most of its lifetime. It was just a simple little rope, but my goodness, that simple little rope was quite a beauty. I honestly think this is going to go in the B tier. I can't physically put it in the same tier as something like Arnett, but it has to get so much credit. A lot of people didn't even know that it was happening while it was on the ground. But this was a beautiful rope tornado again, although only maintaining its duration for about 10 minutes. The longevity didn't stop it from being arguably the greatest New Mexico tornado of all time. And then next up, we have Gary. Now, I really don't want to say this, but I'm going to do it. Dickens was better than Gary, I don't care. But Gary was still obviously an unbelievably photogenic tornado. Beauty in the motion. That's why something like Ashby can't make it to S tier, is because whenever you've got a tornado that large, as I said, the motion is usually relatively unimpressive. But with Gary, you had the greatest motion of all time. Period. Ever captured on video. I mean, this is more impressive than Andover 2022. It's far more impressive than something like Lake City, which we'll get into later. It's beautiful. It's S tier. It's the definition of an S tier contender for Tornado of the Year. But you want to know something that's not so S tier? Not subscribing to the Davis Does Weather channel. At the time of filming, we are at 4,560 subscribers. I would like to hit 5,000 subscribers by Halloween, and I think it's entirely possible, but only if we really push for it and we have all of your guys' support. So if you haven't already, make sure to go click that subscribe button down below. While you're down there, it's optional, but I'd really appreciate it if you did become a member. You're going to get access to exclusive videos, early access to certain videos, shoutouts at the end of every forecast, custom stickers to use in chat, and more. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Next up, we have Grenell. Now, Grenell was arguably the least impressive tornado on this list, and it's not because it's not beautiful, and it's not because it wasn't strong, but because of the date that it occurred on. It was obviously overshadowed by, I mean, not just tornadoes on that same date, but throughout that week. I mean, you had London, you had Marion, you had Plevna, you had Greensburg, you had things like Pittsburgh, you had tornadoes like Arnett. It was almost impossible for this tornado to have its own spotlight, but it is quite a beautiful tornado. Just because of how many phases it went through, I kind of have to put it in the C tier. I was thinking D, but I think for now we'll leave it in the C tier. I know the photo isn't great, it's in its grungy stovepipe stage, but it was quite beautiful at a point. Again, unfortunately overshadowed by many other tornadoes that happened on that day, and I struggle to move it past C, because there's no way it can go into the same tier as Arnett. No, it's not happening. Next up, we have another underrated pick, in my opinion. This is the Henry, South Dakota tornado. This was the most recent entry on this list, occurring just a couple of weeks ago. This was a beautiful wedge tornado with some crazy motion, similar area to Gary, similar intensity to Gary. Also had a phase where it looked pretty similar to Gary. This is going to be a B tier for me. Oh my goodness. Everybody in the weather community knows. Yeah, I may just want to stop the video here. I think I'm going to. Alright, let's have the mandatory 30-minute Lake City discussion. Here we go. It's not a bad tornado. The strength over hype is what bothers me the most with Lake City. People called it Tornado of the Year for so long after it happened. Some people still call it Tornado of the Year. And for that reason, in that reason alone, I hate it. Now, I'm not going to allow my personal biases to affect this Tornado's ranking here. I do think it was just a kind of rain-wrapped nasty wedge. I mean, it was cool when it had a horizontal vortice. It's really hard to put it anywhere above C tier. It's virtually impossible to put it anywhere above C tier. So that's where it's going to go for now. Next up, we have Morton. This was... I say this about all of them. All of them are either underrated or incredibly overrated. But this was arguably the second most underrated pick on this list. Morton was beautiful. Jesse obviously got arguably the greatest shot of the day with Morton. Shout out to you, Jesse, if you're watching. Unfortunately, I did not include his photo on this ranking. Morton is going to go into the A tier for me. When is the last time we have seen a mega wedge tornado pick up that much dust, be that beautiful, and have a satellite right next to it? Oh, that's right. Morton 2022. And then finally, we have the Sikeston, Missouri EF3. This tornado did get quite a bit of attention here on May 16th whenever it happened. This was Freddie's view from it. I mean, definitely a beautiful rope. Not much else to it other than that. I'm going to put it in the C tier. But yeah, I mean, that's my list. So to recap, Dickens and Gary, they can be interchangeable at number 1. They're both S tier. We're throwing Arnett and Morton in the same tier at A tier. Henry and Floyd in B. Then we have Ashby, Grenell, Lake City, and Sikeston all in the C tier. We didn't have anything in the D tier. And then Columbia, unfortunately, got the short end of the stick and ended up in the F tier. But yeah, let me know what you think of this list down below. And even better yet, you guys can actually make this yourself. You can make your own list on here. The link to do so will be down in the description. Thank you all for watching this video. Again, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one, whenever that is. Peace.